Good morning of people of Earth and beyond. My name is Jazz, and you are tuning into 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. I hope you are having a great morning. I'm having a fantastic morning. Here with me, I have my sidekick, my partner in crime, true and true, Miss Tara.
Hello, how you
Woo!
doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm excited for the show today. It's gonna be an interesting one. I'm very excited for this.
We have a weird sloth of stories, but
We do, and there's also there's important stuff underneath all of them. So I'm excited.
yes, yes, yes. But yeah, we have some exciting stuff for you today. But first up, we're going to have our very, very lovely newscaster, Mary, tell us what's going on this morning.
Hey guys. So today in local news, Governor Murphy signed the bill stating that diversity and inclusion must be incorporated into every New Jersey school education plan. The bill will focus on diversity and will include economic, gender, sexual orientation, and race. The 600 plus districts will receive sample activities and resources to put use for their upcoming 2021-2022 school year. The goal for the bill is to promote tolerance and respect for all, instilling values students will take with them beyond graduation. In Connecticut, a small porcelain bowl that was bought for $35 at a yard sale turns out to be a rare 15th century Chinese artifact that's worth up to $500,000. The white bowl, decorated with blue paintings of flowers, is one of only seven known to exist. Experts confirmed that the bowl dated back to the 1400s, stating, quote, all the characteristics and hallmarks are there that identify as a product of the early Ming period, end quote. How the bowl ended up in Connecticut is a mystery and will be up for auction March 17th. Today in weather, it will be partly cloudy with a high of 50 and a low of 29 with a 1% chance of precipitation. Today we'll have a 50% chance of humidity, a sunset at 5:51 and a cool night. And that concludes the news update for March 3rd.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you so much. And we are going to go to sports right now with Matt. Good morning. How are you?
Woo.
Morning. So strap in. We got a lot of Montclair sports news because it's spring and
Sweet.
every single sport is going to be played at some point this semester. So yesterday, the women's volleyball season kicked off for the Redhawks and they lost 3-1, but will look to bounce back tomorrow at home against New Jersey City University. We'll be seeing a swim meet for the men's and women's team happening on Friday. The men's basketball team faces off against William Patterson on Friday, and the women's basketball team takes on Rutgers Camden on Friday. A lot of action going on Friday. And we also get our first look at women's lacrosse as they'll be facing Immaculate University on Saturday. In professional sports in the NFL, J.J. Watt, former Houston Texan, signed a 2-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals. In the MLB, the Mets won yesterday against the Astros, and the Yankees won against the Orioles. Today, the Mets will be facing off against the Cardinals, and the Yankees will be playing the Blue Jays. In the NBA, the Knicks' 3-game win streak came to an end as they lost by 26 to the San Antonio Spurs. The Nets will be playing today against James Harden's former team, the Houston Rockets. And in the NHL, we saw the Rangers lost yesterday to the Sabres and the Devils lost to the Islanders. We'll see the Rangers and the Devils play each other tomorrow at 7. And today in sports history, you ready for this one? Bill Shoemaker, not sure if you ever heard of him, but in 1985, get this, he became the first jockey to win $100 million. All right, let's send it back to you guys.
Fun facts. Very fun
That's
facts. Thank you, Matt.
wild. That's wild. Also, I wish the New Jersey Devils fandom a very pleasant morning. Hello.
Yes, yes.
How are you? Uh I could deal with the loss to the Islanders. They're not the enemy. They're not the true enemy. Tonight we'll get to see some. I'm interested.
I keep trying to tell y'all, Tara is a Jersey girl to the heart.
Yeah,
Good New Jersey.
I'm predictable if nothing else.
Ah, how's the weather like on your end? Because yesterday it was whoa, but
Yeah,
today it's just whoa.
the
You're just
wind
like
yesterday
whoa.
was breezy. Today it's it's chilly right now. It's 32 on the dot, going up to 52 and down to I like how the temperature is. I love when the weather.com does this. The temperature it's recording now is lower than what it says the low for the day is going to be. So right now it's saying it's going to go down to 34 degrees, but outside it's 32.
Don't you just love
So
like physics?
it's cold.
Is it physics? Cold. That's really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
How about
but
by you?
it's pretty much the same ordeal. I knew it was really cold when I woke up this morning, so that's how I usually test my things. So
Right. You get some air and like it tells you what you need to know about the day.
the air and the ambiance of the room is like, all right, so
The
I know how to
vibe.
prepare myself. Exactly.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Do this thing. But you ready to jump right on into it? Because we have a jam-packed day today.
We do, and an interesting day. You know, this is the stuff in these stories. I think it's a lot, but there's stuff to unpack in all of them. So let's start with this. Has been making the rounds on social media a lot, but this article is from APnews.com. 6 Dr. Seuss books won't be published for racist images. 6 Dr. Seuss books, right.
Gasp.
6 Dr. Seuss books, including And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street and If I Ran the Zoo, will stop being published because of racist and insensitive imagery. The business that preserves and protects the author's legacy said last Tuesday. This has, by the way, been buzzing around the internet since then. These books portray people in ways that are hurtful and wrong, Dr. Seuss Enterprises told the Associated Press. Ceasing sales of these books is only part of our commitment and our broader plan to ensure Dr. Seuss Enterprise catalog represents and supports all communities and families. Other books affected are McElliot's Pool, On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Egg Super, and The Cat's Quizzer. What are your thoughts about this?
I don't think it's necessary. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think it's very unnecessary. It's like I'm like people, and when I saw the shock outrage, I'm like, Dr. Seuss was a white man born in the 1900s. It's kind of like, even if it wasn't intentional, it's like, what did you expect? You know, like you are the
100%.
product, you're the product of your time. Like, unless there's those very people who were like born and knew, okay, this is wrong, but that's very select few. Like, to think I saw it on, I'm reading an article right now from AP News. It's like, to think I saw it on Mulberry Street. I actually haven't heard of that book, and I was a Dr. Seuss fanatic growing up.
Same.
It's like, you know, you have a person of Asian descent wearing a conical hat, holding chopsticks and eating from a bowl. Like, that's just Asian racism 101. And then if I ran in the zoo, come on, like, we know the history of Black Africans in zoos. Like, that's nothing new. So it's all, you know, Tara and I were talking about this yesterday. It's all performative. It's like you're not giving the people what they're actually asking for. So you can say, oh, but we did this for you. And it's like, but I didn't ask for that.
Right, and that's exactly it. And I kind of like I wanted to make sure we were clear on like the bigger picture and what's going on here. This at best is a tiny, mildly good thing, right? Like at best. This is, you know, it's coming from a place that, like, you know, nobody really asked. You know,
Like,
nobody really asked for. Nobody's out in the streets protesting for, you know, the removal.
I think I
of
saw
Dr.
it on Mulberry
Seuss.
Street.
Right.
Like, the people who are gonna care are like our age, or it's gonna affect our age, and we don't care. I promise you.
Right. Well, like, people are protesting so Black people stop getting murdered, and trans people and queer people stop getting murdered. This is not even like a priority anywhere. It's just like, okay, this company wanted to pipe up and throw their 2 cents in, and like I'm like, okay, great, like great. I wasn't losing sleep over Dr. Seuss before,
Exactly.
and I'm not losing sleep over Dr. Seuss after. Right? Like, am I way off here? Or
No, you're pretty much right on it. Like, it's not, and I, you know, I don't want to actually. No, I don't sound I don't care if I sound ungrateful. It's not doing anything. Like, it's not. It's
right?
not, and it's just kind of like a sorry way to say, like, I know we're talking about Dr. Seuss, but it's like with the Mr. Potato Head. It's like, I mean, that's not my place to speak, but I can kind of guarantee you that trans people don't care about Mr.
Right.
Potato Head.
Like I
They want
like
rights.
yeah, like I want trans women to stop getting killed. I want trans people to stop getting killed. I want equal rights in healthcare. Like that's what I'm out there being mad about. Like I'm not out there being mad that a fictional plastic potato is being
Exactly.
addressed as a mister. Like that's not keeping me up at night.
Honestly.
It's and look, there is a conversation to be had about that side of representation and how we introduce kids to select concepts because we say so what's okay, what's not okay for kids to know about. That's a different conversation, and if you wanted to get into that, like I said, at best this is a tiny good thing, and it's getting like blown up into like these crazy proportions by both sides of the the news media, and I'm just like, this doesn't, like you said, you hit the nail on the head, this doesn't change anything.
It doesn't do anything. Like people, like Black people, are still being murdered in the street. It's not like, honestly, I'm sorry. It's like our producer Amanda. She just shout out to Amanda, but she said like, oh, history's already been written. You can't rewrite it. You can just learn from it. If you just let kids know, like, okay, so back in the 1900s, this was something that was considered okay. It's not an excuse,
right?
But this was considered okay to joke about. So this is the racial undertones of this story. So just keep that in mind when I'm reading it to you. That's it. Because the people who this is now going to affect, people who grew up on Dr. Seuss, are people like our age. 4-year-old kids who are reading Cat in the Hat aren't going to care. I'm sorry, they're not. And I don't care.
They're not. And they're totally not. You're completely right. And it's the kind of thing where like, and we're reading this AP News angle on it, and there have been a bunch of others, but I haven't seen anywhere Dr. Seuss Enterprises, or whatever his estate calls itself.
Yeah.
Dr. Seuss Enterprises trying to make good on any of this. Like you're a multi-million-dollar company. Your language is money. Like if you wanted to make good on this, throw some of that money toward a cause that deals with racial justice. Like be like, hey, we messed up. Here's where we're sitting. We're trying to make this right. We're trying to do right by what we're saying. Not okay, we're gonna make less of these books and that's it.
It's like, if you're gonna fake it all the way. Like, do a great job. Like, just take it home. You've already started. Don't stop now.
Just like, even if like, they think they are doing the right thing, which I don't know, I'm not inside their heads. Like, just commit. Like, don't just be like, yeah, we're inclusive. That's it. Like,
honestly, Mary, what's your take on this?
I have to agree that they could have done like a bunch of other things if they really cared about the issue, because I know that Ben and Jerry's, they donated like tons of money. They went to protests. They were like being very vocal about where they stand, but Dr. Seuss Enterprises just taking away a couple books doesn't really fight racism in any way.
Right.
Thank you, Mary.
Like exactly, like you said it. Like, you're a multi-million-dollar company. Like, your language is money. And if you want to send a message, like, put some of that money where it matters. There's causes out there that need it and that can, are actually trying to fight this stuff instead of just kind of making an empty promise, or just an empty statement rather. It's just, it's whatever. Like, this is a tiny thing. Also, I don't understand why. I mean, I do understand why.
They should hire us as their PR team, or as our publicity team.
They should. But I don't understand why the news is so on about this. Like, this is a non-issue.
But that's what they're going to do, Tara. Like, first of all, I'm going to be very transparent. It was hard for us to find news stories yesterday. I'm like, what? So nothing's happening in the country? Like, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, they're going to do this because what's going to happen is they're going to make it sound like, okay, well, look at the Blacks. They're complaining. We took out, or it's like racism and violence against Asians is up 1,900% in this country. Not 19, not 190, 1,000,900. Taking away, and this is what happened on Mulberry Street, is not going to stop that violence. Educating human beings is going to stop that violence. Putting people in prison is going to stop that violence. Actually doing something is going to stop that violence. Helping protection of Asian Americans is going to stop that violence. Again, hi, if you didn't know, now you know I'm Black. There's, over the summer, okay, there was a huge, like every day for a week straight, somebody was dying of violent death at the hands of those who are supposed to protect and serve. How about you do something about that? Not cat in the hat. Like it's not doing anything for me. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's not.
It's performative. It's just like no one asked. And then like it's to me like both sides of this are just not of the issue. Both sides of the media are I'm not a both sides are with this or anything. Don't get me wrong. I meant both sides of the people reporting on this are they're doing it in such a weird way. Like on the more left/progressive side of things, they're reporting it like this is actually a big deal, and on the right, it's just like this is what that old joke, the future liberals want. Like nobody is asking for this stuff, and all of you are just going at this like this is just like this is some kind of end game for anybody. I don't know. It's not. We don't
Nobody
care.
cares. Nobody cares.
We really don't care, dude. We don't.
We are telling Jazz and Tara telling you we don't care. But yeah, we're gonna move on from that story because so
we got a lot of wild stuff today though.
Yeah, that's like this slew of like stories. Oh, and yeah, about the remember last year they were like bringing up all these cartoons and trying to like get, it's like this is all, and I can't remember, like all these cartoon actors, like white actors voicing Black and other people of color voices on the cartoon. Like why would you do that? Like when you accepted the role, you didn't know that the person was Black.
Right.
Now you're trying to tell me, okay, it's you understand, but you didn't, when you accepted the role, you didn't know the person was Black.
I mean, I guess it's better than nothing, but it's also like a non-issue.
Like, but yeah, but thank you, Mary, for that. And Tara, we're gonna move on because, like I said, we have a very nice, weird mix of stories for you guys today. Up next, according to CNN Entertainment, yeah, the news was very slow. Golden Globe ratings sink to a record low, sounding a warning to the Oscars. All right. So we all know the global Golden Globes happened this past weekend. So for those wondering what Oscar ratings might be like this pandemic impacted year, based on the off a cliff results for Sunday's Golden Globe Awards, the forecast could be to look out below. Globe's ratings plummeted more than 60%. It's more than half.
That's heavy
from
duty.
The 18.3 million viewers who watched last year, per Nielsen data. That's a database that used to check TV ratings. Thank you,
Yeah.
TVDM Montclair. Thank you for that.
How you doing?
Yeah, to an average audience of 6.9 million. Okay. While the Globes have had a long and uneven TV history, at times airing in syndication on cable and for a time after an earlier scandal, not at all. That's the lowest tune-in since NBC acquired the broadcast rights in the 90s. Tara, give it to me. What are you thinking right now?
I'm thinking that just this is a really great example, right? Of like once you peel back all the fun stuff about award shows that nobody actually cares about them. Like once you peel back like the red carpet and the all the like the performances and like because that stuff is fun to me. Like that I love that stuff. I love doing like fashion recaps and stuff. Like that's super fun. But like once all that goes away, and like it went away this year because nobody could meet up, nobody actually cares about the award show. I mean, relatively speaking, it's just like this is proof of concept, right? That like once you take away all the fun parts, nobody is going out of their way to watch the film industry pat itself on the back.
Pretty much.
How do you feel about this?
So I used to be a really huge award show buff. Like I got it from my mom. And
Yeah.
anytime any award show would be on, we would watch it. And as I got older, like I would still watch them, but especially this past year, like the only award show I really watched was the BET Awards. And even then, it was just to watch some of my favorite artists perform. And they did a good job of like trying to do the at-home vibe virtual concert. But it's like, BT, musical, it's for music, so that's going to be music centered. So that's why they invest so much money in the performances. But it's like Tara said, you hit it on the head. Like once you peel back, because I've always wanted to go to an award show. Like I've always wanted to be, somebody invited. That's also a small part of why I was, I am interested in being in the music industry. I don't sing, so I mean, I do rap though. If you want to hire me and Tara, we're a duo. You guys didn't know that, now you know. And
Yeah.
Mary's our DJ,
Yeah.
so if you want to hire us, yeah. But
I'm the hype lady that's the only thing that I do on the track is be in the back like one time like it's,
yeah.
yeah.
Just ad lib in the background, yeah, and Mary spins it for us. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like that's why I wanted to work in the music industry. And I used to just love the glitz and the glamour, but when you pull it back, no tea, no shade, but it's like there's really no substance. Like
Right.
60% of your viewership fell. 60%?
Don't get me wrong. I'd still love like if somebody was like, here's an invitation to the Grammys, especially the Grammys because they're music, but like
Oh
I
shit.
would still love to do it. But like this is, for the at-home viewer, this is, this is kind of telling. Also, again on the subject of, diversity and how the people interact with it. Uh Not even the hosts this year of the Golden Globes could stay off of them for the fact that there are literally no black people in the entire nominating body of the organization behind the Golden Globes. Not it was in the monologue. Not even their hosts could Tina Fey and Amy Poehler could like stay off of them for that. Like even the hosts couldn't like let that go unacknowledged.
You see what I'm talking about?
Like
It's a doggone shame.
right, and then you wonder why people aren't invested in the show.
Yeah, because it's like when you're at home, it's not as fun. Like I was watching Bad Boys. There was a label back in the 90s with Biggie Smalls. Do you
Yeah.
know Biggie Smalls, Tara?
Yes, I know Biggie
Okay.
Smalls. It was
Do you
just a
know P.
dream. I
Diddy?
used to use Word Up
Okay.
magazine, Salt and Pepper
Because
and Heavy D
you
up in
know,
the
if,
limousine. I know
if you
Biggie
missed
Smalls.
it, if you missed it last week, which means you shouldn't have, you need to, keep up with us. Miss
Yeah.
our lovely host Tara said that the last
I got
rap
dragged.
artist that she remembers in history was Big Pun.
That's not what I said. I said I was just getting hip to Big Pun. I know plenty of rap artists. And yeah, I know Diddy too, because Diddy's the guy in the back, Bad boy.
Exactly.
Can't stop,
Thank
won't stop. Is that all right with you? Like that's Diddy.
That's scarily accurate. I'm terrified. But yeah, so I was watching the 25th anniversary of Bad Boy on YouTube. They had the dedication. When that happens in music, sometimes they have like a dedication or whatever. So it was in 2015, so it wasn't too long ago. So I'm watching it and I'm watching the audience, and I fell into a rabbit hole that day. I watched the New Edition one, the Mary J. Blige. It was a bad
Oh
rabbit hole,
yeah.
but I fell into the rabbit hole, and I was watching the audience and just how alive everybody was, and maskless and not socially distant. And
Right.
I was just like, this is what, I like to see. So if we, life will, the sense of normalcy will be new. But, if we can go back to some things like, award shows, things like that, I would like that. But, people aren't stupid anymore. It's like, you can't cover the wool. Come on, like no.
Yeah.
You mean tell me no black people directed any movies this year
Right.
that were good?
There were a couple of people that happened to get nominated, but the people nominating were all just like random white people. Like
Come on,
it was wild.
do better.
I don't know, man. Like again, I would love to do it. I would love to like get all done up and go to an award show, but
Be all pretty.
we've been to
So-
we went to one in Dallas, the Marconi Awards for radio because WMSC got nominated. Hey,
You see, I missed all the good stuff. You should have
and
called
this was
me
before
Tara,
you were
before my time.
Yeah, we went down to Dallas and because we got nominated for best college station, and it was cool. Like it is, and it's exactly that. Going and getting doing the award show stuff, and that was fun. So like I think award shows definitely still have a place, but like number one, do better. Number two, when we're all at home, I don't know if you could pull this stuff off.
Exactly. Well, but yeah, when we come back from the break, we're gonna talk about another award-winning performance.
Award-winning drama.
Award-winning drama. Keep it
Stay
locked. We'll be
tuned.
right back.
You are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and this is the Morning Buzz, where every weekday at 8 we bring you all the things. I am Tara. I am joined by my co-host,
Jan.
and we are about to go into this story. And I hope we could do this right because the more that this went on, like especially like we did our script session last night, right? We meet up, we link up, we go over the stories and whatever and like the order. And then after that, I just kind of kept clicking around this. First off, we talked about this for a while after we were done. Then I just kept clicking around it, and this story just like
I'm at a loss for words.
All right. So let's start off with the headline, which is from CNN.com. Taylor Swift
CNN.com,
Yeah,
you guys.
this
CNN.
is what they think is headline news for the day, right? Taylor Swift didn't appreciate that Ginny and Georgia joke. The singer tweeted Monday to express her displeasure with a joke included in the Netflix series Ginny and Georgia. Hey, Ginny and Georgia, 2010 called and it wants its lazy, deeply sexist joke back. Swift tweeted along with a caption of the joke. The joke, which was, by the way, one of the characters saying, "Why do you care? You go through men faster than Taylor Swift." She tweeted that, it was lazy and deeply sexist, and then went on and ended it with a very passive aggressive Happy Women's Day, Women's History Month, I guess. Okay.
Oh, Tay-Tay.
So let's start unpacking, shall we?
Okay, so first of all, if you guys don't know, this show, Ginny and Georgia, is a show on Netflix. It's a new show. Never heard of it.
Yeah.
But the reason why
if you don't know, you're not alone because nobody actually cares about this show.
And you want to know why I think, before I get into my conspiracy theories, let me give the background.
Okay.
So how it first came about this, and this is why I think Netflix is slick, because they did this on purpose. When I
was
first
thinking
heard about
the
it,
same thing.
I saw this viral video, and it was on Twitter. And speaking of Twitter, you can definitely tweet us your opinions on any of these stories at WMSC. Tweet us. Let us know how you think of stories. It's in the scene. It's two, I'm assuming, biracial children, and they're going about how Black and how Asian the other one is. So the boy is Chinese and white, if I'm correct. The girl, who I'm presuming is Ginny, is Black and white because the mother is white, but the boy was insulting her about her Blackness. And in the end, they say, and I quote, "If you want to do this, let's go. Oppression Olympics. Let's do it." If you watch the video, if you know what I'm talking about, if you haven't, I'm sorry. Just try to keep up with the joke. I thought it was like satire or something.
Yeah, it's so bad.
It's real, y'all. It's real. It's an actual TV show, and that went viral for a while.
Yeah, and it's also important pointing out that people have been talking about how stupid that is, and there's a tweet here from right_wherever who said regarding this, and this is from an article that was written about that episode where the two were trying to oppression Olympics each other. As a biracial person for the last 34 years, I've never had a conversation like this with any of my biracial or multiracial friends or acquaintances. I don't rep all biracial folks, but this is really, really not a thing. At least not for me. This is just so cringe. Right underscore wherever. I'm right. I'm not
We're
biracial
right
myself, but I
underscore
see it.
there
I
with
see
you.
it.
Mary, before I give my 2 cents, do you have anything you'd like to add? Because this is not.
This is just the first part. This is explaining what this stupid show is.
Exactly.
There's more to it.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten Swifty Sneaks involved yet.
Oh my god. I'm at a loss for words, honestly.
Fair.
Same here.
So right off that, this is the type of show we're talking about here. Like, this is the trash. This is not good.
Sorry, not sorry. This is awful. Like,
yeah,
what is this?
Yeah.
What?
And this is the show we're talking about. And somewhere in there, one of the characters said, "What do you care? You go through men faster than Taylor Swift." Taylor, multi-million-dollar Swift, was so bothered by that one line that she took to Twitter to call not only them, but Netflix out.
And she said it was sexist against women.
That was lazy and deeply sexist, okay? Where do we even begin with that? Like,
if we had the time, we could sit here all day, honestly, because Terry and I talked about this for like an hour or so.
Like,
we're like, what?
You are so... Imagine the ego on this woman to say that I am offended, so all women must... This is offensive to all women. That's the type of ego we're talking about here. She thinks that, like, because this joke is at her expense, it's at all women's expense because she represents everybody.
Yep.
Are you serious? Are you joking me right now? You are Taylor Swift. Before I go on, get in on this, because I'm gonna monologue, and I don't want to monologue.
Okay, so honestly, my personal feelings for Taylor Swift, I think she's a very talented woman. There's no argument about that, whether you like her personally or not, right? Some things are just is, right? She's been in the business since she was, 15? She's written for countless people, so many awards, was one of the first people to successfully, well, no, I'm lying, was one of the few people who was able to successfully change genres in the public and not lose her popularity. Yeah, so, and not lose her popularity, in recent eras, because a lot of people try and change and try and be cute and it doesn't work. One of the few people who, she had it was public, definite, I don't want to do country anymore, I want to do pop. Great. You know what I'm saying? But she does sometimes have this, what I like to call WF. It's white fragility.
Ooh, true facts.
And I don't want to turn it into like a think piece, but it's like, how dense of a human being. Like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? If I was saying something like that joke is old and tired, I can't tell you how to feel, right? But I can only tell you from my perspective. I feel like this joke was made about me since 2010. We all know the Taylor Swift joke. First of all, it's old because people don't really say it anymore. So, that's how you can tell how out of touch the show is, because that's a very old joke. People don't joke about that anymore. Even if she was
I can't stress this enough that we need to repeat. This bears repeating. This show sucks.
Exactly.
And people know that it sucks. Like,
I bet you nobody saw the freaking scene. It was one screen grab.
Right.
Like, we don't know the context of the conversation. We don't know none of that. So it was like,
yeah.
Because I'll start the thing,
right? This is the other thing, and this is the key, one of the key differences for me, right? And what makes me more annoyed at Taylor Swift the more this goes on, right? She made this whole thing about her relationships and how she goes through men part of her brand.
Exactly.
That's what Blank Space is about, which is one of her highest charting songs, right? She talks about it in every other song, especially recently. Okay? So what, and then she turns around and gets mad when other people talk about it and joke about it. So what I see this is if I'm not making money off of this joke, then I'm going to be mad about it. But if it's me saying it and I can sell it, we could still make the joke.
Exactly.
Like, it's just like, it's so hypocritical. And they you could say it and you can, when you can, make these songs and make this part of your brand and your image. But when other people do it, you're above that. Like, what does that even mean? Like,
Happy Women's History Month. I get like my head hurts. Like if you're watching a Facebook Live, how I feel, like my head hurts because I feel like this is so stupid and self-centered, and I feel like like I said, you can't tell people how to feel, but like I'm gonna tell you to get over it, Tay Tay. It's all right.
you
are
gotta
in a
get over
loving
yourself. And we're not the first people to say this. You gotta get over yourself. Like, this is ridiculous. And like
you said, it's a part of your brand now. Like the fact that you go through many, like it like come on. And it's like I said, nobody's made that joke in years publicly anyway. So if a trash show comes and wants to make, because you can tell that the show is not, they're not, the writers are not all the way there. Okay, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So if they make this out of poor taste joke, and if you look at the context of the show, why do you care?
Who cares? And then, of course, because social media is what it is, last night, everybody was sounding off. And I sent you this, I texted you this after, because it actually started, it was one of those things where, like, the response started trending on its own.
Yeah.
Todrick Hall decided to pipe up about this.
Yeah, she did send this to me, yes.
Now, for those of you who don't know who Todrick Hall is, you're probably fine. He was
probably too young.
He was part of the Dance Moms thing, I think is where he made his name, and he likes to leech off of RuPaul. That's where I knew him from.
Oh, I just knew him. Yeah, I knew him from stuff like that. Like I knew him as a YouTuber. Like,
by the way, Fully has been documented shaming women day and night. Fully transphobic. Not the person that you're gonna sit down and take a lecture from. And then people talk about he doesn't even pay his backup dancers. So this is not the person I'm gonna be taking a lecture from. And he decided to get in the middle of this and put his 2 cents in the middle and take Taylor Swift's side and start getting defensive about, how women are shamed. This man,
I laugh.
Oh, this is the dude that was dragging Kim Kardashian in graphic detail for what happened with her and Ray J. This is the same guy, same dude, that now he wants to have a savior complex and go on and, go to bat for Taylor Swift. Like, shut up, dude. Nobody asked. Pay your backup dancers and shut up.
And on that note, definitely let us know, like I said, holla at us on Twitter at WMSC. If you have any thoughts on any of the stories today.
Yeah, and not to be pessimistic, this is just like, this all could be so easily avoided by just like, do the right thing. Like, just do the right thing. You'll figure it out. I can almost promise you that,
And and I didn't even know all this about Todrick. I just thought he was kind of corny after a while, right? Because back then, in the 2010s, I feel like that's a little too early. Like, Todrick was a really big YouTuber. Like he had a show on, I think he had a show on MTV.
He did
that lasted
Moms.
all of 5 episodes, I think. And all of like 5 episodes. And it was like, the concept was like to go viral, basically, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like you shoot a video and hoping, like, that's not.
He's legendary corny, but it's, just do the right thing and like,
and mind your business. Mind your business.
Mind your business. Like, and this is, we can literally do better. And if you're waking up and thinking about that, any of this stuff is, could be done better, then you're probably already doing it better. Like you're just like
Exactly.
there is hope for the world. Just keep just do the right thing. Just
Yeah.
be
I think it was
good.
just blown a lot out of proportion, especially when Todrick jumped in. I think this all could have easily been avoided, and we would have been talking more about the cringiness of the show, other
The
than
show.
Right.
than Taylor being mad about a joke that was that she obviously coins off of. So
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Tay Tay, I'm talking to you. It's okay, sis. Get over
Now
it.
don't talk to her. She'll
Um,
send a legal team after you.
oh yeah, never mind. I'm talking about a different Tay Tay.
Different Taylor.
Um,
A different Taylor Swift.
Different, totally different.
The
But
other one.
today was a day. But you get to close it on now with some nice sultry
Little
voices and
little
some
palate cleanse, a little sorbet
called Shallow Green.
called Shallow. Our interview with Shallow Greens. They're a really cool band. We got to talk to them, and we taped it, and it's here for you.
Joy.
This is the Wednesday Morning Buzz crew. I am Tara with
Hi, my name is Jaslyn. How you doing?
and
Thomas. How you guys doing?
all right, and we're on the line with Shallow Green. Hello.
Hey, what's going
Hey
on?
guys, glad to be here.
Good to have you guys here. Such that it is over Zoom. We do our best. But before we jump in, do you guys want to yourselves like full behind the music style, who you are, what you play?
Sure. So I'm John, but you guys could call me Jack. I am the drummer of the band. Go for Jack.
Sure. My name's Jack as well. Gets a little confusing sometimes, but I'm the guitarist and the lead singer.
And my name's Owen. I'm the saxophone player of the band.
Ooh.
Very cool.
Do people ever call you Jack Squared?
I think once or
I
twice.
feel like we have, yeah. It doesn't sound that.
Yeah, I think we
foreign.
have actually.
Yeah.
Little math. I like it.
Fair enough.
Education.
So,
WMSC brings it all.
we do. We try. We try. How would you guys describe your sound? Like for people that have never heard Shallow Green, never heard your sound before, and they want to jump in. How would you describe it?
So we aim for a more progressive rock kind of feel, but the inspiration that we take from is mostly from like mid to late 70s stuff. So we take a lot of inspiration from bands like Rush and King Crimson. So if I ever had to throw out what we kind of sound like, I would say something similar to those two bands.
But yeah, we're all musicians from different backgrounds. I mean, Owen and John have been doing like pit orchestra stuff. They've done musical theater stuff. I've done musical theater stuff, choir singing, jazz, blues rock, funk. Like we're just a celebration of music. I think that's what we are. We're like a wall of energy,
That's awesome. That's awesome to have different background music styles. Oh.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like we listened to your song before we jumped on the interview. We listened to Scarlet Hands a little bit, which is cool. I get like a 70s kind of funk vibe from that almost.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Our bass player, he's into those like Motown kind of lines, like that funk kind of stuff, Earth, Wind, Fire and all that.
Mhm.
So,
Definitely.
yeah, we like to groove a little bit,
Yes, sir. Do you think that helps your overall sound, knowing that you pull from different genres and different decades? Like, do you think that's what makes you guys different?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. With when you have a little bit of everything, just the music changes in ways you don't really expect it to, and it's interesting. It keeps you on your toes. It's fun.
Totally. And to that end, Scarlet Hands has a lot of really cool horn stuff in it, which I dig. How did you guys like? I feel like the rock scene today is very much about like the 3-4 piece, clean guitars, 2 guitars at best. How did you guys decide to like branch out into that type of stuff and add more instruments and sounds? What was the process for that?
So it's funny, right? Because we actually started off as a 5-piece. We had a separate lead singer and we had a keyboard player, but the keyboard player couldn't keep on doing it, and the singer, we sadly had to kick him out of the band because he wasn't up to what we wanted to
He
be.
just didn't show up.
And
It kind of sucked. You know.
that too. He was not consistent, but
Could
yeah,
have been on the radio with you guys right now. Dang, you missed out a huge opportunity. Sorry, sir.
yeah, but it was cool because me, Jack, and Steve, we would get together still, and we would just jam out to blues tunes and write some stuff for fun. And then Owen was a friend of mine from high school, so I was like, oh, let's call him up. He's a great musician. He'd love to jam with us. And then we just kind of clicked, and we went from there.
That's awesome.
Just another question for you guys. Is there any story or significance behind your name, Shallow Green? Is there a meaning there?
Jack, you want to get this
Yeah.
one?
It's kind of a secret. We kind of keep it on the hush. We can't exactly disclose that information, but
Give us a little exclusive, a little tea.
a little. Okay.
I love secret names. Go
A little
ahead.
bit.
Well, just for you guys. Well, we were bouncing around some ideas for names, and a little fun thing about us is that we like to come up with a bunch of like bogus stories for what the name actually means. And one time we're like, what are we going to tell people like if they ask what our band name means? And we're like, oh, like in-ground pools, how they get all like dirty and like green. Like that's what we say, like our band is named after, like a shallow green pool, and it's just like all gross and disgusting. So we like to make people think about the name. But it's kind of like the Beatles. Like the Beatles doesn't really mean anything. It's just a name, We don't really think about Shallow Green as like a significant thing, like as much as like being named Jack at like birth, So it's just something we go by. It sounds cool.
Fair enough. So we've had a couple interviews over the pandemic talking about how, the live music scene is totally like pieces right now because of the pandemic. So what has it been like for you guys? What's your experience been like trying to keep the band going and like keep creating? What have you guys been doing?
So the beginning of quarantine was especially difficult because we had no idea what to do, because I imagine nobody's went through this before. So the first few months were very difficult because we ourselves were quarantining from each other, trying to stay safe, not trying to get sick. And when we finally got together and started doing stuff, we were writing music slowly. We had to we couldn't rehearse every week because we had to be extra careful. We had some COVID scares, so on and so forth. But now we've come up with ideas. We come up with plans to really drive our social media and YouTube and stuff like that. And we're actually recording ourselves playing music constantly. We have studio equipment in my basement, so we can get a good sound out of it. And we're going to be putting stuff on YouTube consistently. That was our overall plan.
Sweet.
That's awesome. And I know during the pandemic, especially for like I want to say independent, up and coming, soon to take over the world type of band, it can be difficult because music thrives on seeing you guys in person, right? So while you guys are consistently rehearsing, how is your typical music process, and how has it changed? Besides the every week rehearsal, like how has it changed during the pandemic? Like how you write music, lyrics, things like that.
Yeah, totally. At the beginning, it was a lot more sending ideas back and forth. Usually, I'd come up with like a chord progression, and then I'd bring it to these guys, and then they'd be like, "Oh, like that's terrible. Let's make it completely different." That our process was pretty organic, where like everyone had like it was more like it was quicker before the pandemic. With the pandemic things down, now we're sending files back and forth. We're recording our stuff before we let each other hear it. So I feel like it's become a bit more polished, kind of just filtering out some of the weaker ideas. but now that we've been getting together more consistently, and I mean, like, other than the band, like, they're the only people like we really see, because this is all we do. So, we've been able to start picking up the pace again as far as coming up with content, giving our fans something to look forward to, and we're working really hard right now. So that's the goal.
Perfect segue, because I want to know from you guys what's up next. Like, what is, even though everything's so uncertain right now, what do you guys have that's coming out new? What's your plan for the year? What you got? It's usually way easier because they're usually like, oh, what are the next couple tour dates or whatever. But like now,
Yeah.
that could be in like a year. So what's up next for Shallow Green?
So we're putting up our first YouTube video of 4 videos on Friday, the 19th, of one of our original tunes, Please Take Your Seat. And no, we're really happy with how that came out. And it's good. We recorded 3 other songs, and we're going to put them out a few weeks apart. And that way we keep content consistent and have something for people to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with this whole like quarantine, you saw apps like Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. Like, people are spending more times on their devices more than ever. So I think it kind of helps us to have a direct communication. If this happened, if we were banned in the 1950s or something, then we wouldn't have that direct communication with people if something like this were to happen. But we're very lucky and fortunate to be able to, share funny videos and share moments of us rehearsing or silly pictures or just us playing music. It's really satisfying as a band to make people smile like that and to see them enjoy and engage, what we're giving them. So it's really been a blessing in disguise.
I'd like to propose a hypothetical to each of you, if you each want to take a turn answering. If you had to pick a dream collaborator, someone in the music industry to work with, anyone at all, who would each of you pick?
That's a good one.
So like just anyone, like as crazy famous as they may be.
As crazy famous as they might be.
Yeah.
Phil Collins.
Ooh, excellent.
Just straight up
choice. Excellent choice.
Yeah, I'd love to sit down with him and pick his brain of how he writes music, because as a drummer, and he's like a drummer writing music, so how he writes music was very different for his time, and I'd be very interested to pick his brain and all that fun stuff. So yeah.
All right, love that. Love Genesis. Did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I'm the biggest Genesis fan.
All right, with that, we'll go on to other Jack, if you want.
Ooh. This is hard because I'm a singer and a guitar player, so it's like I'm kind of torn. I love Led Zeppelin, like huge Led Zeppelin fan. So I would be very fortunate to be able to meet with like somebody like Jimmy Page and be like, how do you come up with those licks on guitar? Right. To hear or like people commonly compare my voice to like Geddy Lee from Rush, and like I would really like to know how he constantly is in that higher register of his voice without like screaming or blowing it out. It amazes me. So it's got to be one of those 2 guys. They're just my heroes.
Great. And Owen, did you have someone?
Yeah, this is probably wildly different for me because I play saxophone in a rock band. There's not many people who kind of fit that description. But I would probably go for someone like John Coltrane.
Excellent choice.
I know it's more in the jazz element, but you make it work. And I think some of the things that he writes are really melodic and can be applied to a lot of different genres. And I'd love to kind of see what he would recommend in terms of like what we're doing and what we could be continuing to do in the future.
I want to see you like guys with like a Brian Eno type person. I think that could be cool. Like, or like a Daniel Lanois, like one of those producers that's real good at like playing with a lot of different sounds and like different ideas and stuff that's not, in the box. I think you guys would kill it with somebody like that.
Thank you. Yeah, we like to get a little weird with our music. It's definitely, like Owen was saying, like there's not a lot of bands that have saxophone or jazz influences, especially in today's modern age. So yeah, I think like, sometimes we'll just throw crazy noises in the background of our songs, or I like kick on all my pedals. I'm like, what crazy noise can I make, But that's just us,
Yeah, even me myself, like when they first auditioned me for the band, they're like, "Yeah, we're starting a rock band." This was about 2 years ago, and I was like, "And you want me to play saxophone in your rock band?" And they're like, "Yeah." And it's like even myself, I was like, "I don't know if that's going to necessarily work," but we seem to be making it work, and the fact that we do, I think, definitely separates us from a lot of other groups, and it makes us unique, and I like that about us.
Totally. And it never sounds out of place either. Like it never sounds like you're like, oh, we needed to fit this dude in. Like it's very cohesive sounding. It's really good.
I almost think of Owen as like a second singer almost, because like I'll be singing and then he'll be playing something on sax. It's like another voice. It's like having another person sing. So yeah, we always try to just we just let him do his thing. He always comes up with something great, and yeah, like you said, it never feels forced. It's always very organic, just meshes.
That's beautiful. And I love sounds like that, because sounds that you really don't think would go together, like rock and hip hop, right? Like they're very similar, but a lot of people didn't realize that until Walk This Way. Like a lot of sounds can marinate and sound amazing. I'm glad you guys took the risk, because I loved it. So I'm just now kind of getting into a lot of rock, funk. Like I'm just now getting into those sounds. So you guys are the first on my list, so I can slowly ease my way in. So speaking of, the type of music you guys make and you guys being very unique, like what are some of the, or what is like some feedback that you guys have gotten from people that you would have never expected that would listen to your music? Like what has your reception been like so far?
I never really thought about that.
I told you WMSC, we bring the thinkers.
Oh yeah. I mean,
yeah.
we kind of get up on stage and make noise and people clap, that's been the general reaction.
Actually once, I mean, once people moshed at one of our concerts, I never expected that to happen before. So that's something.
That was like one of our last shows before COVID.
Oh, that was our second to last show before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that caught me off guard.
Yeah. Because we're not like a metal band, we're not like super heavy, but
yeah,
I feel like it's more like the emotional content of our music drives people to just feel, you know what I'm saying? I've had a lot of people come up to me after shows and up to the rest of the guys, and they're just like, oh, that last song you played. And it's like, it's a really like chill and like somber song, except for a couple parts, but they're like, that last song just like really resonated with me. And as an artist, like it's just amazing to hear something like that, And even with Scarlet Hands, like I'm gonna be honest, it's not even one of my favorite songs that we've written. And people have come up to me like a year later and been like, this song changed my life, So it's very nice to hear stuff like that. We've had our fair share of criticism as well, but in general, I feel like I said, with the whole emotional content thing, I think we make people feel stuff with our music. It's not just noise, I mean, maybe it is sometimes, but it's noise with a purpose, right?
That's the goal though. Like, and that's really cool to hear you guys say that, because connecting with people, I feel like not every artist that comes through, gets that. Like that's what it is before anything else, before, what this song's supposed to sound like or any of that. You got to connect with people and get it. So to see you guys getting that it's good. It inspires hope.
Absolutely, man.
So thank you guys, Shallow Green, for coming through. Cannot wait to see the new stuff you put out on your YouTube and the stuff you're doing on socials. And once we can, live shows. It'll be amazing. For Thomas and Jazz, I'm Tara on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair.